Hello everyone, my name's Sam Jones and I work for Ground Control. I lead on our partnerships in the housing sector, and Ground Control really are experts in environmental sustainability. We're so proud to be carbon neutral already. We work with housing associations and housing providers on landscape development and land management, and creating and maintaining green spaces for communities is at the core of really what we do. Following our Green Communities Summit on the 6th of July, I'm delighted to welcome back Nusheen Hussain, Executive Director of Home Group and Board Member of the Green Futures Partnership. Nusheen, thank you for joining me on this one-to-one and to explore some of the things that have come out of the Green Summit's interim report. Welcome to the conversation.
Thank you, Sam. And just by way of a further introduction, Home Group is one of UK's largest national housing associations, and we provide homes to over 55,000 homes to over 115,000 customers across England and Scotland. And amongst other things, I look after all aspects of sustainability for Home Group. Delighted to join you today, Sam.
Great, and some really interesting conversation points that came out the back of the 6th. So I want to explore a few things around that now. I think one of the pertinent takeaways that I certainly took was around active stewardship, and Lord Kerslake correctly sort of highlighted that it's everyone's responsibilities, and certainly housing associations have an enormous potential to contribute to open space, health, biodiversity and sustainability agendas, and that the role of stewardship for housing associations is more than ever pertinent. What's your thoughts on that, and what are the things that Home Group and Green Futures Partnership are doing around that space?
Sure. I think if there's one thing that's really clear and that we all know is that housing associations are certainly asset rich when it comes to buildings, certainly homes. And we work with our customers and communities who are at the heart of everything we do. So we're really actually very well placed to contribute to our customers' health and well-being through green spaces, which also in turn benefit the wider community. And one thing we noticed was there was a real need for sector-wide collaboration, and that's why and joined forces with 4 other very like-minded housing associations to form Greener Future Partnerships, which will collectively work together to tackle the sustainability challenge and help green our homes.
Yeah, and there's some really interesting areas of conversation there, and certainly one that I think came out the back of the summit on the 6th was that collaborative, collective thinking is now more critical than ever in order to drive that forward. And certainly from a supply chain perspective, I think there is more onus on us as suppliers and as a supply chain to work collaboratively as well, to support housing associations either in forums or as individual business entities. And certainly some projects that we're looking at and have worked on is where we work with other third-party organisations and with other supply chain partners to bring projects like tree planting, like awareness campaigns within schools. Certainly we've been doing a lot of that in and around London with some of the London boroughs and some of the other supply chain members for school groups in London. So from your perspective, what are the benefits and outcomes from that collaborative active stewardship that you'll see hopefully coming through in the Green Futures Partnership?
I think nobody's got a kind of infinite pot of money in terms of this sustainability challenge, which will be indeed one of the biggest financial investments that the sector has to make. And we feel that by collaborating, we can work together and ultimately get to a position whereby we can jointly procure and therefore reduce the unit cost for the new more sustainable heating technology that we will be putting into customers' homes, because we know at this moment in time, things like heat pumps are very, very expensive in comparison to gas boilers, for example. So, that is one of the kind of commercial reasons, if you like, for this collaboration. But on a broader scale, we know that we have a number of green spaces, and we have a number of buildings, in fact, in excess of 300,000 homes between us as a collaboration, and therefore we need to work systematically together to understand what our collective asset base looks, make sure that we work as efficiently as possible to get to the end result. And of course we're going to make some mistakes along the way, because it's not going to be easy. It's a big challenge, but by pulling together our expertise, we feel it's the best way to tackle this challenge.
You mentioned there a big number, 300,000 homes that collectively the Green Futures Partnership is certainly custodian over. That's a lot of stakeholders, that's a lot of residents, that's a lot of people. And certainly from a supply chain perspective, one of the big hurdles, or certainly biggest challenges that we've been experiencing, and certainly was voiced on the 6th, is around this behavioural change of those residents. If sustainability is to stay on the front foot and really drive through and make it a collaborative approach between housing associations, supply chain and residents, then that behavioural change piece is a big consideration, certainly around raising awareness on these agendas. What is it that Home Group or certainly the Green Futures Partnership are looking to try and achieve, or certainly some of the biggest challenges you face around that particular element?
So we have to get the customer bit right, and engaging customers should be at the centre of it all, and we need to ensure that our customers aren't done to as part of making our homes more sustainable. And this needs to be done at a very sort of grassroots level, so quite organically. And at Home Group, we're looking at utilising customers as green champions, particularly those customers who have really benefited from the more newer technology within their homes, like heat pumps, for example, where they've managed to save money off their energy bills as a result, and understand how to use the technology to its best, basically. So we feel that that is a more it's a more effective way of communicating and engaging with our customers, rather than a landlord coming in and telling customers what to do. We feel that will not work. And the other thing we're looking to do is also provide sustainability awareness and training amongst our colleagues, particularly our customer facing colleagues. So we're currently busy sourcing e-learning and training resources for all of our colleagues, so we're consistently communicating key messages with not just our customers, but also our customer facing contractors, for example, our maintenance contractors who actually go into customers' homes to either install or maintain the new greener technology.
There's two really interesting points there, Nusheen. First of all, around those green champions and how that, having, again, linking back to active stewardship and having those resident stakeholders taking a real active interest in the change and the change management of the estate, certainly driving towards sustainability, and having that first point of contact straight back into you as an organisation, where your residents are feeding in two-way conversations around sustainability. Really interesting point, and I think something that can certainly, it's a scalable model and can cascade very easily. The point you raise about the supply chain supporting with that awareness piece and linking into both staff and resident-led awareness training or certainly awareness campaigns is really interesting, really exciting, because certainly we as supply chain partners and the supply chain as a whole really have a lot to contribute to that. We are the for certain things we're the subject matter experts, and Ground Patrol, we do a lot of biodiversity and sustainability awareness training and days, events, resident-led events across our housing customers, allowing us to really give them a perspective of the short, long, medium-term benefits of a more sustainable lifestyle, and certainly a more sustainable environment. And it's really interesting you link that back to the savings and the awareness around how these technologies or these improvements generate savings, because biodiversity and enhancing a green estate can often net reduce maintenance costs. So it's a very tangible thing that residents are also going to be able to enjoy, not just the sustainable enhancements. And I guess that links into one of the final points I wanted to discuss, and one of the pillars that came out of the sixth of the summit was these benefits of green space and open space. And it's, residents are able to enjoy this and should have access to enjoy this. And I think now more than ever, with COVID having been a prime instigator of people spending more time in their local environments, seeing the benefits of that has really come to the fore. What's the kind of feedback you're getting or observations you're getting within Home Group or within the Green Futures Partnership around that benefit of green space?
I think you're right there, Sam. Never before have green spaces been sort of at the forefront of everyday life, be it our customers or broader community. And we've seen certainly during the pandemic that an element of kind of escape or getting peace of mind is spending time and being closer to nature. So I think green spaces have had that prominence in terms of certainly in terms of what the pandemic has brought with it. So from our perspective, look, we know that the lack of physical activity costs the NHS almost £1 billion every year. And in addition to that, a further £5 billion as a loss to the wider economy due to lost productivity. So I think there's broader benefits, not just the immediate benefits to the customer, but to the NHS as well as a knock-on effect. So I think green spaces and well-designed green spaces, certainly as far as housing associations are concerned, are absolutely should be part of the whole kind of design proposition and at the centre of it. We know that it helps with mental health and well-being, and that is a big part of what we do, certainly at Home Group. We want to help our customers live more independent and wholesome lives, and green spaces play a big part in that.
Yeah, very much so. And as well as well-being, I think some of the benefits of green spaces, as we're certainly advocating and now legislation is advocating, is the biodiversity gain, which then ties back into the whole sustainability agenda. And with the environmental bill for 2023 coming through, which will put an onus of net gain on all new builds across the housing and housing association market, now more than ever. Linking those two, the people piece and the environmental piece is more pertinent than ever, and certainly something we're seeing a lot more coming in with our customers, and some of the inquiries we're seeing, and certainly some of the conversations we're having with the housing market is how do we tile that together into a framework so that everyone can work to the same, or at least to similar principles, so that we're all rowing in the same direction towards net zero. So yeah, an exciting space, but also one that needs focus, hence the conversations we're having, which is really, really great. So that's all the points that I wanted to talk about, certainly out of the report. So it's just a general question to yourself, Nusheen, Is there anything else that you wanted to discuss in this forum? Anything else that you think comes out that could come out from these conversations? Just looking at next steps.
Yes, thank you, Sam. I think one thing I didn't talk about was that, our housing stock, and actually across the sector, is an aged and old housing stock. Some homes are dating back to the sort of pre-war period. So we know that at least 10% of our homes won't make it to net zero, and we do have to think differently. So carbon offsetting will most certainly be part of the overall equation. And so green spaces are, not just directly for the customer, but also in terms of, planting and offsetting also. So that's something that we need to think about. And we know that the environmental benefits of green spaces are limitless, with improvements to the air quality, reduction in temperature in densely populated urban areas, better water management, and of course biodiversity.
Indeed, yeah. Nusheen, thank you very much for this conversation. It's been really enjoyable. There's a lot of stuff going on from our side moving forward in the lead up to CIH in Manchester in September. These conversations are going to carry on throughout the sector, throughout our organisation, with an aspiration to really draw together a best practice framework. So Nusheen, thank you for your input, and to everyone else, thank you for tuning in.
Thanks now.